We're running here. Deadpool 2. I finally saw Deadpool 2, and it was okay. I mean, for me, it wasn't anything too shocking or surprising. But then, I mean, I've never been a big fan of the character Deadpool to begin with. I mean, yeah, from time to time he says some hilarious things, and I mean, even I've read a number of Deadpool comic books, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was okay. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it completely sucks, or of course, I mean, in this one, there's the introduction kind of, well, not even really like a formal introduction. Well, maybe kind of the character Cable, and Cable is supposed to be this character. He's from the future. He's able to travel back and forth to different points in time, and so I mean, but in the comic books, Cable, he's definitely one of my favorite characters. But in this movie, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I would say the actor Josh Brolin, he definitely did a great job at portraying Cable. He pretty much got down the whole like badass look and vibe, so he definitely got that down. And but then later on, he kind of like changes his demeanor, and that's mostly because Deadpool is like so outlandish, I guess. I somehow, Deadpool, he manages to change Cable's outlook on life, which I guess is a good thing. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I definitely got the feeling that the writers, there were a couple points in the story where it felt like the writers did take the easy way out, and it's even pointed out, like Deadpool himself, points out the fact that there's like, I want to say 2 or 3 times where he even says something to the effect of, "Wow, the writers got really lazy, didn't they?" So I mean, it's not just me saying it, but it's even mentioned in the movie. So, of course, I mean, as far as like the story goes, pretty much in this one, his wife, or rather, I guess what's his Deadpool's wife, I think they get married. I mean, because I barely remember the first movie. I'm just gonna say that they got married. So his wife, or fiance, girlfriend, she gets killed, and which hey, sorry if you consider that as to be a spoiler, but as that always happens, superheroes, they're the people that they love end up getting killed. So, it's comes with the territory. So yeah, she gets killed, and he gets really depressed. He tries to kill himself, but of course he can't die. That's a big part of his powers, his abilities, is he can't die. So he tries to do all these different things to himself and tries to blow himself up, and I guess he does. He blows himself into pieces, but ultimately he's still able to regenerate. And then this kid, there's this other character, this kid who he can start fires, and he's given himself the nickname of Fire Fist or something like that. And I think he's supposed to be from New Zealand, because he even has that, like, familiar accent. And, so, I mean, this kid, like, he gets sent to this school with other mutant kids, but except it's kind of like the opposite of what Professor X does. While Professor X, he nurtures, children who have abilities and whatnot. There's other school where the guy who runs that pretty much forces these kids to stop using their powers, stop using their abilities, and because he considers all mutants to be abominations. And he even goes so far as to, like, he tortures them and then places collars around their necks. And these collars, I don't know, they're supposed to have, I guess they have some kind of electromagnetic frequency, so it keeps them from being able to actually use their powers. And so that's what happens to this one kid. And of course he doesn't like it, and he's able to, I guess, somehow take the collar off and use his ability to cause a lot of damage, burn a lot of stuff in this school. And at the same time, that's when Deadpool, he becomes like an X-Men trainee, like some kind of X-Men in training. And he's, like, along with, so he's with Colossus and that one girl who, she goes by the name, was it like Mega Sonic something or other? And so yeah, that's how Deadpool meets this kid who goes by the name Fire Fist. And so something happens where, I mean, I don't want to give away too many of the details, but something happens, and eventually Deadpool and this kid, they end up being sent to this, like, high security prison, or maximum security prison, whatever you want to call it. It's called, like, the Ice Box, because it's somewhere, like, way out in, I don't know, Antarctica or something like that. And so it's this prison for mutants. So they get sent out there, and then that's right around the time when Cable shows up from the future, because then supposedly this kid who calls himself Fire Fist, when this kid, later on, eventually the kid, when he's able to break out of prison and go back to that school where he was tortured by that guy who says mutants are abominations, and so he's able to go back there, and then he's able to kill, like, he kills, I guess, in the future he kills that guy, and then after that he gets a taste for killing, and he becomes like this mutant who just kills people, I guess. So then later on in the future, I guess he ends up killing Cable's wife and daughter. So because of that, yeah, that's the main reason why Cable travels back. From the future, he travels back into the past, and in order to kill this kid. So kind of like a whole thing where, if you had the opportunity to, if given the opportunity, would you go back in time, kill baby Hitler or something along those lines? And that's even mentioned in the movie too. I believe Deadpool brings it up or something. So, and I was kind of disappointed by that, because I thought, with, having Cable in the movie, I actually expected, I didn't really expect much of anything. The one thing that I did expect was that, I figured Cable was going to have a much more, at least somewhat complex reason for traveling back in time. And yeah, okay, granted, his family was killed, and he wanted to go back in order to save his family. Yeah, I get that, obviously. When it comes to, but I guess in any other movie, that would have worked, at least for me. But I mean, when you're talking about it like a superhero movie, it's just, yeah, again, that's, for me, that was one of the things that, for me, just felt like the writers took the easy way out, because, you know, they're just like, okay, we gotta give Cable a reason for traveling back in time, and, you know, oh, how about, like, you know, his family gets killed, so he goes back in time to try to kill the guy that killed his family, but, like, when the guy was a kid, and, you know. And then, I don't know, you know, they're like, somehow they were like, that's brilliant, we'll use it. And, I mean, I don't know, it's, if you're a Deadpool fan, obviously, there's a good chance you probably like this movie much more than me. Yeah, I mean, and that's not to say, like, the other performances were also pretty decent. I mean, really, I guess for me, like, my biggest complaint is the story. Just, for me, like, you know, it felt like they could have done so much more with it, but instead decided to just keep it, like, flat, or, you know, I don't know, and even though, like, this movie, yeah, it has a lot of violence in it, profanity, and vulgar stuff, and, for me, it ultimately just came off as like, kind of cutesy. So yeah, I guess it felt like, you know, they've already, like, Marvel, which of course is owned by Disney. Well, in fact, you know, that makes sense, though. And that makes sense that, you know, the most vulgar and outlandish Marvel character, you know, of course, Disney/Marvel, of course they're going to tone down Deadpool in a way, like, not tone him down completely, but tone him down enough so that, you know, they are able to make him at least somewhat palatable to the masses. And you know, yeah, I guess, you know, financially that makes sense, you know, because Marvel, Disney, they're out to make money. So I don't even know how well this movie did in theaters. I guess it did okay, or I don't know. I remember reading something about that. It did okay. I mean, I guess it did enough, you know, sold enough enough tickets at the box office that part 3 is, like, already being planned or something. So, I will say, I guess the one thing I did like the most about this was the ending, the way it ended. Because, I mean, it tied everything together and, yeah, summed up everything nicely. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess ultimately, as far as the rating goes, I would give it, I'd give it 8 out of 10, maybe like 7.5 at the bare minimum, but definitely just 8 out of 10. So yeah, that'll do it for my review of Deadpool 2. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.